Have you ever said, "I'm fine," when you knew deep down you were anything but? Not because you didn't want to talk, but because the lie had become a habit, a shield, your truth. For years, that was me. Every time someone asked how I was doing, the words came out automatically. "I'm fine, just tired. Things are okay." But the truth, I was exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. At first, it felt harmless. It kept things simple. People wouldn't worry, and I didn't have to explain the storm inside. But slowly, I began to lose track of where the lie ended, and I began. I smiled in public, then collapsed in private. I said yes when I meant no. I was available to everyone except myself. I thought that's what strength looked like. Stay composed, be reliable, keep going. People even praised it. "You're always so calm. You handle everything so well." But calm on the outside doesn't mean peace on the inside. In fact, it can hide deep unrest. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." I didn't know it at the time, but that's exactly what I was doing. Letting unspoken pain dictate my choices, calling it being strong. The turning point came quietly. One evening, someone close to me asked, "How are you really doing?" And I said it again, "I'm fine." But this time, they didn't nod and move on. They looked at me for a long moment and said, "You don't look fine." That stayed with me. Later that night, I stood in front of the mirror, staring at someone I barely recognized. There were no visible scars, no chaos. Just a tired face and eyes that looked away from their own truth. And that's when the silence broke. I started to question it all. Why do I keep saying I'm fine? Why am I scared to admit when I'm not okay? What am I really hiding? The answer hurt. I was afraid that if I ever admitted I was struggling, I'd fall apart and never recover. Afraid people would see me differently, weak, dramatic, too much, so I kept the lie alive. And every time I said I'm fine when I wasn't, I built another wall between who I was and who I pretended to be. Psychologist Brené once wrote, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing, it's having the courage to show up and be seen. But I didn't feel courageous, I felt like I was disappearing. Then something small happened. Someone forgot to respond to my message. That tiny moment unraveled me, not because of the message, but because I had nothing left inside to hold myself together. I broke down, tears, shaking, silence, and in that stillness, I said the words I'd avoided for years. I'm not fine. And for the first time, I felt free, not healed, not fixed, but free. That messy moment wasn't the end, it was the beginning. After that night, I stopped performing strength. I started practicing honesty, first with myself, then with others. At first, it was terrifying, but something shifted. I found that when I spoke the truth, even in small ways, people didn't run, they listened. Some even said, "Me too." I began journaling, I started therapy. I stopped apologizing for needing rest, space, support. I read more, learned more. Author Edith Eger said, "The opposite of depression is expression." I had locked my feelings away for so long I forgot how to express them. But slowly I found words again, not perfect words, just honest ones. "I'm having a hard day. I feel heavy, but I don't know why. I need a break." And to my surprise, the world didn't end when I spoke like that. Instead, I started to heal. I also realized this: saying "I'm fine" isn't strength if it costs you your peace. True strength is showing up as you are, even when it's uncomfortable. Today, when someone asks how I'm doing, I pause. Sometimes I say, "I'm doing better." Other times, "I'm struggling." And yes, there are days I say, "I'm fine." And now I mean it, because now I check in with myself. I listen to what's going on beneath the surface. I hold space for my feelings, even when I don't understand them. If you've been living behind that same quiet lie, I want to tell you something. It's okay to stop. It's okay to say, "I'm not okay." It's okay to be real. As Viktor Frankl wrote, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That starts with honesty, not for others, but for you. So ask yourself gently, am I really fine? Or just afraid of what happens if I'm not? Because sometimes the most courageous thing we can say isn't I'm fine, it's I'm hurting and I need help. Or even just I don't know, but I want to understand. That's not weakness. That's a new beginning, and you deserve that beginning. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, don't just click away. Hit like if you've ever said I'm fine when you weren't. Subscribe for more healing stories and truths we're all afraid to say out loud. And in the comments, tell me, how are you really doing today? Let's stop hiding. Let's start healing together. And thank you for watching.